Hey guys, so going to do a unboxing video, and what we've got today is a package from Parallax, and it should contain a Propeller 2 Revision B silicon evaluation sample board. And it should also have a HyperRAM module in it. I believe the HyperRAM module also has HyperFlash, which is basically, both of those are serial accessed flash and RAM, which is kind of cool. We'll see how that is. And I should also have a board in here for doing some prototyping work on the evaluation sample board. So I have my eval board, my revision 1 eval board here, and this is the one that I've done the videos for the little OLED display. And unfortunately, I don't have my SD card that I did those tests with available, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to program this thing tonight and do it on the video or not. It is about 20 degrees outside, and it's definitely getting into the time of year where this stuff gets fun, because you're not spending a lot of time outside. And I don't know, for me, wintertime is just playtime for electronics. Summertime is more hanging out on the boat and being out in nature a little more. Wintertime, not so much. Let's see. Well, let's go ahead and get this thing opened up and see what we've got here. I've been anticipating this thing for a year. By the way, if you happen to be on the East Coast and you're purchasing stuff from Parallax, priority mail. Use priority mail, because whenever I ordered this, it came, I was expecting it to be here before Thanksgiving, and it took 10 business days to arrive. It took 2 weeks for this thing to show up. I'm sitting there watching where guys in Australia have received theirs that ordered them the same time I did, but it couldn't get to the East Coast of the United States using UPS. And so at that point, I'm like, no more West Coast UPS stuff. We're gonna try priority mail, because they say they can have it here in 3 days, and you know what? It's here in 3 days, and I think it actually cost less to ship it priority mail. So I was very pleased. I ordered this either Thursday or Friday. I know it shipped Friday. Here it is. It arrived today, Tuesday. So yeah, a lot better, much better deal, and I'm going to be able to have this to play with over the Thanksgiving holiday this year. So well, let's go ahead and get to it. Let's open this thing up. I'll go ahead and turn on the other overhead here, and we'll use our handy dandy lineman scissors and see if I can get this thing open. That, and I have no idea if this is going to open up or not. We'll see. So there we go. There we go. Cut it there. And cut it there. Pop this bad boy up. What do we got? Hopefully good stuff here. All right. Oh, got bubble wrap. Stuff's always fun. Can't not do it. You have to pop it. Must be popped. It's got to go. All right. So refreshing. So refreshing. You got to do that. Okay. So what do we have here? We have the prototyping board. All right. Check that guy out. There we go. Let's open this guy up. Ooh, fancy. Super fancy stuff. See if it can autofocus. I don't know if I have the autofocus turned on that or not. So you can, what I plan to do with this thing right here is I'm going to put some encoders on here, and I've got a project that I'm going to do with my ham radio that's going to involve the P2. It's going to be kind of cool, and in here it should have like the little connector and everything to mount on there, and it does. Oh wow, that's surface mount, it looks like. Well, that ought to be interesting to put on there. Okay, cool. All right. I was kind of expecting that to be soldered on, but hey, you know, I'll take it. Awesome. And we'll be using that very soon. Okay, and here is our HyperRAM board. There we go. Made in America. Oh, it's so tiny. Ah, look at this guy right here. Let's flip it around so it shows up correctly. There we go. And it should just plug into the evaluation sample board. Super nice. These are still available on the Parallax site. If you want them, you better get them quick before they're all gone. At least they were available earlier today. Pardon me, a little under the weather. All right, and here is the big dog. Lots of anticipation for this thing, man. Hopefully this will be the last revision of the hardware. It is an engineering sample, and so if it has issues, then there will be a revision C. I hope there's not. Well, that's different. I like it. It's kind of opposite of the other. All right, you see this guy right here? If you'll note, the SD slot is up here. The PC programming port is there, and the additional power port is there. Additionally, it looks like it has more jumpers on it, as far as, well, actually it has less jumpers on it. Okay, yeah, you can either choose your LDO or accessory power input, I guess, to go to the pins there. And I haven't read the documentation on this version of it, just only cursory information from reading the form. And there's no jumpers, there's no dip switches on this one. So you can see the difference here. The dip switches are on the old one on the left there, and those don't exist on the new one. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, they are. They're up here. Ah, look at that. Okay. All right. And I believe this one has switching regulators on it, and this one appears to be does not appear to have a switching regulator. So that looks like that's different. So cool. Yay. Now I'm wondering if I should fire this thing up or not. Probably shouldn't. Can we get it to fire up? I'm not even sure where I put my additional accessory boards and everything for this guy. All right, so we need to put the feet on it. Gotta have feet. And as you can see, it is a engineering sample. There are only 150 or so of these guys in existence. And I believe they made a couple of hundred Revision B boards. I could be wrong about that, but I think they made about 200 of these guys. But they did a run of a large run of chips. So there should be plenty of Revision B silicon out there. I know that the gentleman that does tacos, Peter Jackie, he's doing the P2D2 and is offering up for sale his board, which is really cool. It's a much smaller board than this. But it's a cool little board. I wanted to go ahead and just get another engineering sample like this because I already have things that are built for it, and it'd probably be easier for me to start with that. I'll probably get a P2D2 at some point, probably soon, after playing with this guy. So a couple of things that I want to test on this is I want to do a comparison using the service monitor to see what the jitter on the PLL on this thing is. I think I measured somewhere, what was it? It was somewhere in the neighborhood of around, I think, like 20 kilohertz of jitter on the other board. And supposedly they changed some of the values used in the PLL so that it would get a stronger lock. And apparently they also made it where it would favor the upper end as opposed to the lower end of the multiplication range for the PLL. Whereas with the old silicon, you would want to do a clock that was with a divide by 2, and with this one you'll probably want to use a much higher divisor to have less jitter. So we'll see how that turns out. And like I said, I'm not really rigged up right now to do any tests with it or anything. Chip Gracie is the designer of the chip, and he has put years of effort into this thing. I mean, like a decade into building this thing. So it's an awfully cool looking chip, and this is definitely far beyond the capabilities that you would see with a like an Arduino or something like that. So this is like a for those of you that are Arduino heads out there, this is much more powerful than probably the largest Arduino that you get your hands on. This thing has 8 32-bit microprocessors on it, and the testing that I've seen, it can be overclocked, over 400 megahertz. And so you've got 8 cores sitting there running along with a shared memory, excuse me, at 400 megahertz. They're going to do some cool stuff with this chip. And for people like me, having all that power available, and with the architecture of it and the way that you program it by making the individual cores have specific tasks that they do. It makes it very easy to program. Um, there are more advanced features on this than the old Propeller 1. One of the big complaints people had was there were no interrupts, and people just didn't know how to program without an interrupt. It's like, how can I make it do something else, And people couldn't get it into their mind that instead of an interrupt, you just program another core to go do whatever that task is. I mean, how often, whenever you're dealing with a microcontroller, are you doing more than 8 things? Typically not. You have something reading input, something performing an output, something that is doing some type of processing, and you don't need to have to worry about all of the timing requirements and everything whenever you don't have interrupts, because you just dedicate a processor to that task. And that's what makes the P2 and the P1 very unique. Now, if you want to do interrupts, P2 can do interrupts, which makes it even that more powerful if you want to, if you've got a lot of slack in one of the cores where it can do a couple of different jobs. Okay, and then program up an interrupt and let it, hand it off, and you'll be able to do additional tasks with it. So it's going to be really neat. There are going to be guys that are going to be emulating full computers with this thing. I mean, I've seen it mentioned that this is the Amiga of microcontrollers, just because of how unique it is, and the architecture of it is just so much more different than anything else that's out there. Anyways, guys, just wanted to do a quick unboxing. I'll come up with some things to show off its capabilities and stuff like that. I found one of the guys posted a link to the HyperRAM test application that they have, where they test the HyperRAM before it goes out. They ship it out, so that ought to be fun. I'll show that off. So I'll probably come up with that sometime this week and get it up and on YouTube and on my Facebook. Anyway, guys, take care, and we'll see you later. Bye.